And I have with me in the studio to do justice to this, journalist Charles Ideho and TVC News senior researcher Cyril Abaku. It's nice to have you all join us this morning.
Thank you.
Right. Let's get into the Vanguard, where we start from this morning. Vanguard says, how DSS, police, OPC rescue kidnapped passengers in Osun. And gunmen hijacked 4 Osogbo-bound vehicles along one of the roads there, yes, and then kidnappers let off aged pregnant passengers, nursing moms take 10. The vigilante chase abductors comb adjoining forests. An OPC DSS police rally work together, all victims freed. Zamfara government raises alarm over plans by Boko Haram to attack 7 local government areas. Well, these are still issues around security there in parts of the country on Vanguard. All right, let's move now to the blueprint. And it talks about something else. It talks about unemployment, and it says Nigeria sitting on keg of gunpowder unless, that's the federal government is saying, excuse me, saying this, and says over 15 million seeking white-collar jobs. And Boko Haram, IPOB, banditry, and kidnapping, others are symptoms of the same unemployment. Now, payment of new minimum wage begins. Okay, that's part of it too. And Buhari working to ensure Nigerians enjoy better lives. That's the Secretary to the Government of the Federation saying that. Okay, I guess we'll talk about this shortly on the paper review segment. All right, let's go now to Daily Trust. Daily Trust is focusing on the 8th Assembly, and he says Saraki, Ekweremadu, others failed to retire 73.5 billion naira running cost. We account for money is collected. Ndume is defending the 8th Assembly there. Okay, Daily Trust. Now let's move now to News Direct. And it talks about something else. The tribunal reaffirms Sanwo-Olu as duly elected Lagos governor, dismisses LP's petition. Okay, that put an end to legal battles there. News Direct now. Let's go to The Guardian. The Guardian says Senate presidency clash looms over project's probe, and lawmakers accuse ICPC of abusing its powers and criticize NFIU's scrutiny of National Assembly accounts. And Buhari not teleguiding anti-graft agencies, aid insists. All right, these are what you see on the front page of The Guardian. This day is where we go next. Nigeria foreign legal team plots strategy to stop P&ID's $9.6 billion award. And Malami Emefiele in London renew battle for more royalties from oil majors. Okay, that's what you see on the front page of this day. Gentlemen, if I have to draw your attention to the stories on the front page of the blueprint that talks about unemployment, I guess this will interest you because it is saying Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. That's the federal government raising alarm. And when the federal government has to be the one raising that alarm, I guess that is something.
Then the alarm is real.
The alarm is really real. And it says over 15 million seeking white-collar jobs. Now, what really is this challenge with this unemployment? We've been sitting on this keg of gunpowder for many decades now. But the gunpowder has not exploded. Charles, you want to start with this?
Would it ever explode?
Well, of course, it's exploding already because the issue of Boko Haram, banditry, herdsmen, they are all symptoms of the same thing.
But if you want to look at Boko Haram, just to look at it as, I mean, in its own merit, the issue of Boko Haram, I personally will not tie it to unemployment because when you look at it, it has to do with ideology. So they are fighting an ideological cause.
Ideology is only the drive.
Yes,
the motive was not necessarily the ideology.
No, there are people. No, it's what I'm saying. There are people who could be gainfully employed, and who could you preach to them about ideology. They resign and then they join the ideology. So you won't say.
But that's a little fraction of the entire.
Fraction, but it does happen. So, but I think what we need to do is to see how we can proffer a solution to the gunpowder we're sitting upon, because gunpowder is everybody will all sit upon it, and if it explodes, it's going to also affect all of us. So, what we need to do, I think we have to, maybe the government has to change narrative, that you have to actually redirect the youth focus from seeking white-collar job to looking for how to make them become, train them entrepreneurially. So when you train people, but again, you don't just train, you also make them, you also make available access to micro credit finances. So when you have trained somebody maybe in any vocation, for instance, then there should be assurance that at the end of the day, there is the microcredit for the person to set up their cottage industry. Cottage business. So
the CBN is doing a lot by throwing monies at different programs across the country, like we hear on the news.
Empower and all that also.
Cyril, the issue of entrepreneurship and skill acquisition and vocation, like he is saying. Well, not everybody could or would be an entrepreneur, but there are lots of these things going on across the country.
No, but you see, even if you give people loans and money, it doesn't address the critical question of infrastructure. You can look at what Kagame has done in Rwanda, for instance. Much as we hail and respect what he's still doing, some of his critics will tell you that, look, the larger chunk of the economy is still informal. And that's what you find. Politicians, philanthropists, even government, descending solo or condescending solo to do empowerment programs. People becoming fashion designers, furniture. But that will not, you see, that's like a short-term measure. In the long run, that cannot attract foreign expertise, for instance. The kind of economic maturation that you need to launch us into a place of security, economic security, you know. So how does the empowerment program, for instance, even deal with desertification that is pushing people away from the Lake Chad area and making them even join Boko Haram in the first place? It's not holistic. So
but all these efforts aren't there because like we were saying earlier on, federal government is raising alarm. The federal government is supposed to be the one to do all of those in the first place. And since there's a shortfall, there's a vacuum, and all these people are trying to just put something in.
We have a value system that does not encourage gradualism. Let me explain to you. So, for instance, 15 million people are looking for white-collar jobs, isn't it? Because without a white-collar job, you can't survive in Nigeria today. So, I'm a tailor, I have my shop in, let's say, Ilupeju. Okay? Where do I live? Let me say I live in Ebafo. So how do I, from my house to my shop, it means, and that's why they lie a lot, because transport costs alone in a month, you know, there are issues. And so if you don't deal with the critical question of infrastructure, for me, I think that those 15 million persons should not be looking up to government, or government shouldn't think that they're looking up to them. What can we do to make them become self-reliant?
But which is what I said earlier. Because if you go to India,
Charles, the point there is there's a talk about the employability of the Nigerian youth.
Yeah, exactly. I do understand that. Yes.
Talk to us about
employability. First, there are two ways. Okay, there is the formal employability where you are certificated. That's on the one hand. But on the other hand, where you are not certificated, then you can do training, which is what I talk about, the vocational training. If you go to India, for instance, India is not, I don't know that they have a measure of educated section of that country. But what did they do? Okay, when the Narasimhan Rao was there in the 90s, what he did was that they removed power from those at the upper crust, and they brought the power down to the everyday people, which was why the thing opened up a flow of activities in the micro sector. So people who got trained in IT, got trained in all that, they were given microcredit for them to set up industry. So this little business is set up now. Now we're now absorbing the people who were around them, and then they're working. I could own an IT company, for instance, as one man, and I employ about 10 persons. I've already taken 10 persons out of the market. Siri will have something, maybe tailoring he talked about now. It takes about 5 persons out of the market. You will have something, maybe blogging, for instance. You take 5 persons. So in between three of us, we have employed close to 25 persons. I mean, is that not working? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but again, you need to look at a few critical factors. Does India have power outages?
Yeah, maybe look, I do understand. They can work pari passu.
Let's
They can work pari passu.
That's one. Number two, I understand the Indian system a bit, fairly well. Before India achieved that milestone, they decided on how they wanted to compete in the global space. That is why even today, you will go and bring an Indian technician, Indian hardware engineer, to come to Nigeria to fix a defective computer. Why is that? It's because they decided that this was the part of the world that they wanted to take.
So over
so
the
that's
build
saying, that
capacity.
we can
There is a
start.
part
Yeah,
of the
we can
global
start
economy
it.
that India says we want to take this part, and they've gone for it.
Which is why I
what
am
does-
saying
So
that
that
we can
strategy
start
is
it.
needed in Nigeria
It's needed,
now.
which is what I said which is needed.
you
That's
see,
what-
That
that's what I'm
strategy
saying.
is needed in Nigeria
There
now,
is
isn't
even
it?
there
So
is
Syria
even-
and I same thing, but
there is-
that's what I'm
there
saying. I
is-
said
there
we
is
need to
even-
start that.
Just hold on. There are people who do tiling, masonry,
Yeah.
bricklaying, so in Nigeria today. When people want to build houses, what do? They go to Benin Republic.
We'll go to Togo and Benin
So
Republic.
there's the problem.
All right.
You have not sat down to understand what you want to do.
Okay. So there has
Which
to
is
be,
why we're saying
there
we
has
need
be
to.
a strategy.
Exactly,
First of all,
to
if
open
you
up,
a
to
philosophy
to
by
open
Of
that
where
Nigeria.
you want to be.
Okay.
Then from there you identify the values that are going to drive it.
Okay.
And then that becomes naira and kobo.
All right.
And we already identified them.
All right.
It's a matter of how putting in place what we really
We'll
want.
leave you here now. Thank you very much, Cyril
Thank
Abaku,
you.
for coming
Yeah.
on the program.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Charles Ideho.
Thank you
very much.
Yes, right.
The studio, journalist Charles Ideho and TVC News senior researcher Cyril Abaku. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast. Let's head straight to the papers now, and we begin with the Vanguard. On the front page, how DSS, police, OPC rescued kidnapped passengers in Osun. Gunmen hijacked 4 Oshogbo-bound vehicles along Imesi-Leibokun Road. Kidnappers let off aged pregnant passengers, nursing moms, take 10. Vigilante chase abductors. Kuma John in Forest. OPC, DSS, police rally, work together, all victims freed. Zamfara government raises alarm over plans by Boko Haram to attack 7 local government areas. And on the front page of the blueprint, unemployment, Nigeria sitting on keg of gunpowder unless, says over 50 million seeking white-collar jobs. Boko Haram, IPOB, banditry, kidnapping others are symptoms. Payment of new minimum wage begins. Buhari working to ensure Nigerians enjoy better lives. And to the front page of the Daily Trust, 8th Assembly, Saraki, Ekweremadu, others failed to retire 73.5 billion naira running cost. We accounted for monies collected in Dume. To the front page of News Direct now, Tribunal reaffirms Sanwo-Olu as duly elected Lagos governor, dismisses LP's petition. And on the front page of The Guardian, Senate presidency clash looms over Project Probe. Lawmakers accuse ICPC of abusing its powers, criticize NFIU's scrutiny of National Assembly accounts. Buhari not teleguiding anti-graft agencies, aid insists. And finally, on the front page of this day, Nigeria foreign legal team plots strategy to stop P&ID's $9.6 billion award. Malami Emefiele in London renew battle for more royalties from oil majors. All right, gentlemen, I'd like for us to quickly take a look at the story on the front page of the Vanguard. It's basically about issues surrounding insecurity in the country and how, security agencies, the DSS, police, and the OPC, local vigilante groups, came together to rescue kidnapped passengers along Osun Road. Let's look at how important it is for us to have this synergy, looking at the level of insecurity that is plaguing the various regions in the country. Charles.
Well, I think it's commendable. That synergy is commendable. It's also something we can borrow from and see how we can paste them all over Nigeria, because information gathering is very important. And then there's no way you can gather information effectively if you don't secure the assistance of the locals, because the locals know who is within them. For instance, the forest we're talking about now, people who are in that area, the local people, they know exactly
understand
the geography of the
path,
place.
yeah.
So if you involve them, there's no way they'll be able to help effectively to lead the military men or the people who are trained to all these areas. But they may not have to be, the locals may not have to be armed. They could serve as maybe a conduit through which information can pass to the trained people who are trained, like the what
The
they call
DSS,
the DSS, whatever. So if you have that synergy and you build upon it, I think it can help. Just like the example of this Oshu and Odo that we just read about, it can help. So I think it's something we should borrow and see how we can improve upon it. Take it to Zamfara, take it to Kwara, take it everywhere. Because even I just came back from Benin. When we were traveling, we didn't have any police escort with us. I mean, throughout that long stretch between Shagamu and Benin, it was just a miracle that we got there. When we also we had to go to Ekpoma. Ekpoma, that day we left Ekpoma about 6:30 p.m. I mean, that bad road, we drove into Benin close to 9 p.m. that day. And as I'm not lying, you see, between Iruekme and Benin City, no vehicle was trailing us. And the thing was dark, the road was bad. Sometimes we had to slow down, practically stop.
This was late in the night?
Late, I'm talking about 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. I mean, we took Benin to Ekpoma is about maybe 1 hour, but we took close to about 3 hours. We were there and we were just at the mercy of God. God saved us because everywhere, look at the forest. So I think the locals can help to give information that's required to the security agencies who will now go in there and bust the crimes. Now,
this is in the southwest region, Cyril. How can we, leverage on this synergy? Because there's been some sort of disconnect when you look at the northeast and the north, so to speak, when it comes to synergizing to achieve aims like this.
No, you recall that, I think, very early in the month, the IG of police spent an entire week in the southwest for security summit, ostensibly to meet with leaders, governors, traditional rulers, and so on, to fine-tune security strategies. What he announced in the end was that the police are going to deploy special forces to the region. I don't know if that has already been done, but I think that we shouldn't be on the back foot. Veronica, let's open our eyes and look at the fact that the scale of this attack or the scale of this attempted kidnap is not child's play.
Absolutely. And it has become lucrative.
Yes, lucrative. And so we need to ask ourselves some very vital. If you ask me, I will require the security agencies to look inwards. Did you see the pictures of 3 soldiers that were dismissed in Maiduguri because of kidnapping? And about 7 or 8 more that were dismissed, that have been arrested in Lagos for armed robbery. How did we become a nation like this? Soldiers, policemen,
who are supposed to, who are saddled with the responsibility.
That is why you will investigate from now to eternity. You won't get any results. Bill Clinton was one in 1992. I think he said, for every American problem, we look for an American solution. So the solution won't come from help. What we need to do is to ask ourselves some very important questions.
As much as it is important for us to ask ourselves this important, we need, short-term solutions.
No, but yes.
And then also look at the long-run solutions.
So here's what you do. We must ensure that the intelligence guard Charles was talking about is not done as a routine thing. Okay? Now, it took us to rally.
Should be benchmarked.
To rally. To bring, and many times the semantic is between rescued and released. Many times the difference is the same. So should Nigeria be parting with money all the time? When there was even a story of someone who was supposed to be a security personnel was kidnapped and that he paid about $3 or $5 million to rescue himself.
Absolutely.
So what is the hope of the common man? Now I don't want to mention them, don't worry, let's not embarrass them on TV. But the fact, if that is happening, what then is the hope of people like you and I? So let's tell ourselves that the security problem of kidnapping, of banditry, has not gone away.
Absolutely.
So what
can
we do significantly differently to tackle the problem?
But let me quickly add this to just tie into what Cyril said. I think there is but this thing may not be, what I'm going to say may not be deliberate. But I think there's this, we're not punishing criminalities at all. People who are involved in it, for instance,
there was a swap somewhere.
It's not a swap. No, that swap is also encouraging them.
When you say that we are not punishing insecurity or criminality,
we're not punishing them.
So perhaps that is encouraging it.
When the authorities will now officially, dialogue with, or either dialogue or negotiate with criminals. These are criminals that have been authorities officially. You meet with criminals. People they are criminals. They have confessed to be criminals. They have confessed to the crime they have committed. You are negotiating with them and then you part with some, they part with some, then you ask them, go see no more. Okay, what are they saying? Because they know that what they have done, they made money,
Something has
and nothing has come, no punishment has come. What stops them? And you have emboldened
You know,
them.
when you tell
Quickly,
when you tell a terrorist go and sin no more, your sins have been forgiven. It doesn't change him from being.
It doesn't. You embolden him
Because at the very core of his consciousness, he's a terrorist. And so you saw the effrontery with which a bandit. Look, it's the same thing. In some parts they call them bandits. In some other parts they call them terrorists. In some parts they call them terrorists. Another is kidnapping and so on.
But we need
Do
the
you know when
solution.
somebody
Yeah,
said,
the solution is that
way-
let's punish
when people
criminality.
can
Let's
take
punish
up arms and
criminality, yes.
threaten the very
Then you
existence
punish
of the
them.
state.
Gentlemen.
America may negotiate, but they will punish you in the end.
Important. We need to pick
Well, we're
lessons
not punishing anybody.
from such countries. Thank
Yeah.
you, gentlemen, for your contribution on the program this morning.